San Jose is the heart of Silicon Valley, home to the world's best technology and innovation. But this weekend, it's home to the world's greatest rugby players. 12 international teams, including the host U.S. Eagles, will face off for 2 grueling days of action. Their mission? To lift the cup at the inaugural Silicon Valley Sevens. The party just getting started here at Avaya Stadium. Welcome to Avaya Stadium here in San Jose, folks. Brian Hightower alongside international legend Gareth Reese. Gareth, a new tournament.
Welcome
First time
to
it's ever happened.
Avaya
It's a
Stadium
beautiful
for the
ground.
2017
What is the
Silicon
upside
Valley
of having a
Sevens.
tournament like this in this part of the season?
Well, first of all, California's been a big part of USA Rugby over the years, hosted the World Sevens stop, even provided the early Olympians that lifted that gold medal. So it's a natural that we're here, and some of the best teams in the world here, teams that have dominated the World Series in the last little bit.
Well, we're going to start out with Pool B action. The first match, China versus Japan in a battle for Asian supremacy here in California. Later, we'll see Fiji, Australia right out of the gates. A compelling second matchup on day one. And here come Japan and China. Gareth, sometimes playing the first match in a tournament, do you see that as a blessing or a curse?
Well, it's pretty early here. Saturday morning. The Samoans didn't look too comfortable as they were warming up. But you got to get it going. This will be a 2-day tournament for these teams. And because of the 3 pools of 4 format, there'll be a little bit of a break. The Japanese in white jerseys here will be more favored for this one, I think, because of their experience on the World Series. But some real danger men. And number 4 there, Lodi Takiri, is a handful if he gets any kind of space.
Also look for number 7, Kameli Soejima, also a world-class finisher. And there's China, a group of unknowns. Talk to their coach. They are just trying to get international matches under their belt, building for the Olympics. Once the Olympic announcement came out, China was on board. And there is a first gallop. Japan off the restart early. Try under the posts, just like that. That might be the standing record. 20 seconds into the match, and we've got our first score, a try from Japan.
Yeah, well, big Jose Siru went up on the kickoff, and he dominated. He took the ball, and he was the provider for Hayashi. Look how he goes up here. This is the end of the run-in. No problem for him, but Siru had done the damage, and the Chinese put up a decent kick, but just didn't compete in the air.
I talked to the coach, Damian Karuna, who coaches Japan, and he told me that Seru was one to watch.
Yeah.
As far as upside goes.
Well, as we mentioned, there's a mix of players who had a season as a core team on the HSBC World Series, and they'll be drawing on that experience here today. Not the start China we're looking for here at the Silicon Valley Sevens.
Haven't had a whole lot of international matches. They do have the Asian Games to play for, but consistency and getting top quality opponents is a struggle.
And we do know there's a lot of investment in the Sevens game in China, the Olympic sport, and the Army's behind it. So I think it won't be too long before we see some results, and we'll find out this weekend where they stand on the world stage.
Good ball movement there as the ball goes out to Li Haitao on the corner. Shan Chengshun. And again, good ball movement, but Japan defending well. And part of the goal really is to make it difficult to defend the Sevens team. And so far, pretty easy for Japan to just slide, make tackles.
Oh, potential interception there for the big man Chen, but he couldn't hold on. Strange decision. Our referee in the middle there in the green jersey is Harrison. And a funny ruck decision there. He gave the Japanese credit for trying to steal the ball when it looked like he was in the middle of the ruck. Watch this as he goes back the other way. Maybe the jersey clash, but that is as easy an intercept as you're going to get, Brian.
Yeah, and sometimes you look out, you see that kind of similar colored jersey, a little bit of white, a little bit of red. Difficult read and almost an intercept. Would have been a try. Daizawa, the captain, takes one up, lays it back. There is number 3, Seru. Set up the first try. Motomura goes in, digs one out. Out it comes to Noguchi. And then to Giri. And he finds Ozawa, who started this movement a few phases ago. You got to come up and make those tackles. If you're going to shoot up in defense, you got to make the tackles. Instead, slippery run there by Noguchi, and he dots one down for Japan, and that puts Japan up by 2 tries, 12-0, early still in the first half.
Not much on here, Brian. A little bit of footwork, but that's just a poor technique in the tackle. I was going to say some of the Chinese tackles are a little bit high and a little too much arm in them, not enough shoulder.
Yeah, and I think that's the classic. You know, your head is down and you stop your feet moving, and those are the 2 no-nos of a tackling technique.
Worth mentioning the conditions here. Said Saturday morning, a little bit of California drizzle that I'm sure will burn off here, but it is a little slick out there. But fantastic surface here at Avaya Stadium, the home of the San Jose Earthquakes, and now the home of the Silicon Sevens.
A little sweater weather here in San Jose. Didn't pack well. Came out of Colorado thinking it'd be warmer in San Jose, California. Not the case. It's like a beautiful Vancouver summer.
Whoa, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, that might be a first yellow card, a contact in the air, and that's the youngster Seru, and he is shown yellow and is going to take a 2-minute break.
It's so worth mentioning, Brian, anytime a player's in the air, you can't attack him. You got to look after him, safety reasons, and a little advantage here for China. I'm surprised they missed touch there. That's a bad mistake. They couldn't put any pressure on the short-handed Japanese.
So Japan down 1 player, faces a full-strength China with 6. And it looks like Lotte Tungiri is going to beat them all single-handedly.
Oh, once again, quick feet.
And that's, once again, the feet of Noguchi. He squirts through for yet another try. That's his second in just a few minutes.
So dominance from Japan early on here. Again, sloppy tackling, but good feet again. Noguchi off the right foot, and that is pretty woeful from the Chinese. So 3rd try for Japan early on here. 7-minute halves in the sevens game.
Yeah, pretty easy day at the office so far for this Japanese setup, and not a whole lot of surprises there, although technically you'd want China to execute a little bit better in defense.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons they're here. Learn the lessons, play with the best. And this is going to be a fascinating pool, as we mentioned. Fiji and Australia, the other contenders.
So about a minute left in this first half. 3 tries, 3 conversions for Japan, 0 on the board for China at this point. Keep in mind, up next, Fiji and Australia was actually the Cup final in a tournament in Munich just a few months ago.
When you saw that great shot of the American fans, that's one of the great things about a sevens tournament. You cheer for your own team and then a couple others. There's constant action.
So contact by Japan causes the knock on, and then the ball gets intercepted, and then the Chinese player bundled into touch. So the net result is that Japan gets the ball once again, and here is Noguchi with a throw in what is our first set-piece line-out. Seru back in the game after a 2-minute rest, goes up high for the ball. Not straight, says the referee, and so China gets one more shot. 0's on the clock, but the ball will be theirs. The question is, can they cross the halfway line? They haven't been close today.
Yeah, the Hooter sounds, you can hear that. That is the end of time, but the ball will be reintroduced. Rugby does not end when the ball is in play. So one scrum, as you say, for China. They want to work through one of their options here from deep in their own end.
Just way too predictable from China. Defended well and held on the ground in the tackle.
So he's tapped the penalty, and he's just deciding whether or not they're going to end the half and go ahead with a 3-score, and they will. The 3-score lead is enough for Japan right now.
So the referee's going to allow the line out.
So
So the decision to go for the line-out ball works in Japan's favor. They win their own set piece. Out wide. Oh, you got a wide open number 12, Motomura, on the corner, but in the end, he doesn't need to be used. And another try for Japan, a commanding lead after 7 minutes of play, 26-0 with a conversion yet to come. So far, nothing but frustration for China. Where do you go from here if you're the Chinese coach in the halftime huddle, Gareth?
Well, I think you pick some things you can fix. We both mentioned the tackling. Get your technique right, and the predictability in attack. When you got the ball, try and mix it up, work some of your options.
So Shinomiya converts 28-0 at halftime. We will step away for just a moment. We'll be back for second half action.
What does life insurance have to do with rugby? Tradition, values, respect. Rugby has deep roots and a vision for the future. So does Penn Mutual. As one of the oldest and fastest growing life insurance companies in America, we're here to be your teammate and support you along your journey in life. Penn Mutual, your game plan for insuring life.
University and college rugby teams. Save 50% on your next custom Rhino Rugby team kit order with a sponsorship from Penn Mutual. Your design, your logos, your colors. Includes jerseys, shorts, and socks. Save 50% on your next custom Rhino Rugby team kit order with a sponsorship from Penn Mutual. Learn more at rhinorugby.com.
We are set for the second half of play between Japan and China. Japan with a 28-0 lead here in the inaugural match of the 2017 Silicon Valley Sevens.
All right, back for action. Second half, China versus Japan in Pool B play here at the inaugural Silicon Valley Sevens, where in the first half, China, well, let's just say, Gareth Reese, there is a menu of things that they could work on.
Well, this is better play from China, stringing a few phases together. But they've been penalized at the breakdown. The Japanese had rights and got their hands on the ball.
First possession then coughed up once again by China. So they still have not crossed the halfway line of their opponent. And it's Tungiri with a long kick downfield, and Soejima just sets up nicely for him. Can he gather? Yes, he can, and momentum carries the defender away. Soejima carries the ball towards the middle of the sticks. Another try for Japan.
Well, that's the beauty of the sevens game. There's so many different ways to get it done. This time to get it on the right foot, sees the space, and there's no sweeper in place. China should have a man deep covering. A little bit messy on the pickup, but in the end, he fends off the two Chinese tacklers. And so Jima does well.
And Japan, obviously, Gareth, has the run of play so far, and they've capitalized. The opponent maybe not giving them as much competition as say their next opponents will in Fiji and Australia. Yeah. What are you happy about if you're Damian Karuna so far?
Well, I think first thing, the result's not in doubt at this stage. You only got 5 minutes left. You're up by 35 points. So it gives you the option to rest a few bodies. But you also, you never know if points difference will come into this at some stage, a three-pool format. But it does take the pressure off. That's maybe why they're choosing the kicking option a little bit more. And he can get all his bodies on. Everyone can have a run.
So China takes it straight
there you go.
Into the guts of the Japanese defense. Tries to go wide, but not enough pace there. But looks like a break here. Number 5, Shan Changshun. Ball bounces around and off the hand of a Chinese player, and so a pretty good break. One of the few line breaks we've seen at all so far today, and then they squander their possession, cough it back up, and Japan with the scrum feed.
Well, Shang Chang-chun is one of their danger men. He showed his pace there running across, almost got through the Japanese defense, but this is where it breaks down. His technique at the tackle was poor, didn't set up, didn't protect it so his team could keep playing and put some phases together.
Japan with the ball, the offload to Soejima. Backed up nicely there by Daiyozawa, the captain. And then, just a squirt around the side. Nobody home on the blind side defense. And another try for number 11, Yoshihiro Noguchi, and that is his third on the day.
Well, Soejima always backs himself. The big hand comes out. But look at the vision here. He sees that there's no Chinese defender checking off the short side. And the hat trick is pretty easy in the end.
All credit to China, too. You talk to their staff here, and they've really just gotten into the game. And that Olympic announcement in 2009 prompted China to really get into the game. Very, very passionate about the Olympics. And so now sevens has become part of their national games. It's funded now by the Chinese government, and they will start to bring in more coaches from around the world with experience to try to teach the basic skills of this game.
And a pool of athletes that no one else in the world can replicate. But it does speak to the quality of play here, the Silicon Valley Sevens. This is the very best in the world, and they're testing themselves against it. Let's say they're getting a pretty clear answer to right now where they stand against China, but that's often useful in your development to know where you stand.
Again, a slow ball for China as they try to work their way out of danger. And speaking of danger, slight knock on by China deep in their own half, and they're flirting a little bit with danger in making that big, huge cutout pass over the top. Ends up going to ground, almost scooped up by Japanese hands, knocked first by China, and therefore the scrum to Japan. Dangerous territory once again for China as Japan looks to extend their lead. Already up 42-0 in the second half. Game 1, Silicon Valley Sevens, first ever for this event. The stadium here at Avaya in San Jose starting to fill up. The world's biggest bar right below us, Gareth Reese, is also starting to get busier right below the scoreboard. It's a great facility here. Japan with the ball. Out wide to Soejima, and he backs himself, goes straight ahead through one, over another, and scores another try for Japan.
Well, Soejima, 7 meters out, is a tough task for anyone in the World Sevens. But the diminutive Chinese player couldn't put the big stick in there.
talking to the guys in the Japanese staff, Damian Karuna, their coach, and several others, talking about really a double-edged sword. They are hosting the World Cup in 2019, and then they're hosting the Olympics in 2020. And one of the problems with that is that all of the resources are going to go to the World Cup first, and then it leaves Damian Karuna with 1 year to get some resources back for his push for the Olympics. Although pretty successful in the Rio Games, they've shown that they can surprise the world when they have just a little bit of time to organize.
Yeah, there's no question they have the athletes there, and they've got the playing base, but can they get that momentum they need, what got them onto the World Series? Can they maintain that as they head into that Olympic Games? And I know there's been a lot of emphasis on the 15s games, so they are competitive at their own Rugby World Cup.
We have a feeling that the World Cup in Japan in 2019 is going to be world class.
Yeah, first job. Little World Cup up the road here in a few months as well, we'll talk about later, but that's pretty exciting as well.
Indeed, and the hooter mercifully sounds for the Chinese. They have the ball, and one last chance to maybe get some points on the board. Big cutout pass to number 2. That is Zhang Chao. Chao goes right down Main Street, tries to run over a Japanese defender. Resources on the corner. Can you get there? One more pass. And the ball squirts into touch, and that will be the last opportunity for China, who also has an uphill battle for the rest of their day. They'll face Fiji and then Australia.
Yeah, that was their best piece of play. Sorry, Brad, best piece of play, but their skills breaking down. And anyone who hasn't played sevens, the 14th minute, you can be pretty tired, even though it's a short period of time.
Indeed. Well, we'll step away for just a moment. The final here, Japan 47, China 0. First game of Pool B play, and we will come back with Fiji and Australia. First match out of the way, and so the second is Fiji and Australia in this Pool B play. Now, Fiji and Australia have been having a pretty tumultuous month or so together. Faced off in pool play in Munich at the Oktoberfest Sevens, and then faced each other in the final. And that
Via Stadium, please welcome to the pitch for match number 2, Fiji
for Australia.
Yeah, big result, and Australia has used sevens to develop all their best players. Very exciting at their best, but that is one of the great sights of world sport. Fijian sevens is now here in Silicon Valley. We're going to get a nice taste of it right now.
Star-studded lineup for Fiji, although 6 newcomers for this Fijian squad. I was at the jersey ceremony last night, and Waiseli Sarevi, the legend, passing out the jerseys. The captain for the weekend, Jasa Varamalua. A great affair. And then Australia, really, of all the teams we've seen at this tournament, they seem to be the most experienced here.
Yeah, they do. And under Coach Andy Friend, they're always well organized. They've got good shape to them. Let's just find out whether they've got any match winners in this young group here.
Keep your eyes on Amanoni Nasila Sila. He's wearing the number 6 today. He was the player of the tournament at that aforementioned Oktoberfest Sevens.
Anstey with a great take off the kickoff. Early possession for Australia.
And ball shifts. Porch to O'Donnell. And then it's Simon Kennewell. Looked like a knock-on, but the referee thought the ball went straight down. Contest for the ball. Leaves one out wide. The defender. Fiji looks like they're stretched on defense. Oh. First try, Australia, and just methodical, this Australian team.
Yeah, rewarded for their patience. Kept going with the flow there. Good ruck clean out there. Good support. Even a bit of a shot going in from Killingworth.
Yeah, and then you saw Kennewell there, and he dishes to Lucas. And Tom Lucas dots down for the first Australia try. A few Australians in the crowd cheering on the boys.
Those wouldn't be Australians with a beer in front of them, would it? Well, I'll tell you one team, Brian, that you know well, that aren't notoriously are not great on the first match in the early morning of a Saturday. It's not the Fijian strength.
Yeah, it's a little cold out there if you're Fiji. So after the opening try by Australia, not converted from the corner, and so 5-0 is the score. Big cutout pass. That's one of the newcomers there, Anare Tavita. Dishes off the ground. Referee says that Fiji's holding on in the tackle, and might be slowing the ball down, not giving him 10, tackling him straight away.
Yeah, so the referee said there's a penalty awarded, a quick tap. That's against Fiji for holding on to the ball at the ruck. The quick tap by Australia, and as they went, they were grabbed within 10 meters, so that'll send them to the sin bin for 2 minutes.
Yeah, no, really nobody on the tour better than Australia at punishing that one-man overlap.
Very good tackle. Look, he's over the ball, and he's got rights. That Fijian player on the ground has to release the ball because the Australian's on his feet. And then as number 2 there, Vekiali, makes the tackle, he's not 10 meters away. Good. Wow. Interesting call from referee Dolman there.
So now it's Fiji with the ball once again, out to Tavita. Looking for the dish off the ground is Ratandamu, but wisely keeps it instead. There's Tavita, good scoop off the shoelaces, and then out to the experienced veteran, Leo Nakasau. Nakasau finds inside, and that is Bettina. Bettina back to Nakasau. To Tavita, but the ball stolen by Kennewell from Australia. An amazing last gasp effort by Australia, but knocked forward, says the referee, and wow. That's the kind of try we normally see from Fiji. Almost a guarantee that it's going to get finished, but Australia collapses well in defense, and Kennewell with the miracle steal of that ball right at the end, and there is the elder statesman Nakasau.
Well, that's one of the features of the Fijians game. They're backing up. Their support lines are fantastic. And that's the excitement that Rugby Sevens brings, and there's no better exponent. These are wrong.
So Bettina goes looking for the goal line, and instead the ball turned over. John Porch with the ball, looking for space, and he can fly. John Porch. All the way down the sideline, coast to coast for John Porch. Wow. Talk about a turn of play. Almost thought it was going to be automatic 5-pointer for Fiji all the way down to the 1 meter line of Australia, and just like that, John Porch is scoring on the other side.
We attack from anywhere in sevens, and literally from their own goal line. The man from Norths has done it. He's gone coast to coast. Demoralizing for Fiji, who are threatening themselves, but that's why you never give up. You got to keep scrambling back, as Australia did, and that was their reward. The kick just outside the post.
And perhaps not having that 7th player on the field makes it a little bit more manageable for Australia. Less defenders in front.
Now Australia can slow things down a little bit. We talked about this Pool B matchup. This is going to be key. It would be surprising if the winner of this game didn't end up top of Pool B with Japan and China making up the other teams.
2 scores down. And Fiji looking to regroup. Lucas shifts fields. Back over the top to Kennewell. Kennewell looks for space. Finds a white shirt to run into. Sets the ball back. Ben O'Donnell, one of the revelations of the Munich game, scored 2 in the final against Fiji. There's Tom Lucas. Back to Killingworth. Now it's Porch, the try scorer. Porch gets hit a little bit late. Referee says play on. And there's Kennewell. Kennewell bashing into Emanoni Nasilasila. Wide pass is on. And that is number 3, Sam Myers, who slides and dots down. No try, says the referee. Into touch, says the assistant ref. And that is how we will end the first half. 10-0 Australia. Fiji looking to regroup.
Well, come on, Aussie, come on. Great start from them. 2 tries. Really clinical work from them. We saw it in that last passage, not forcing it too much, working the short side, trying to stretch out the Fijians, and they've done it on 2 occasions. Almost did it on a third there, right in the corner at halftime.
All right, young side for Fiji. Can they regroup? We'll see in a few minutes for the second half of Fiji versus Australia. So Fiji looking for a little inspiration from above. They'll need it. Down 10-0 at the half. Kickoff to come. A young side, these Fijians, 6 new players received their first jersey last night in the jersey presentation ceremony. A heavy weight to bear if you were a Fijian rugby player. Lots of tradition, perhaps, to account for there. And we'll see if these players can respond down 10-0.
Well, not only are they great supporters, as we saw, they always come out and support these 7th tournaments, but back home in Fiji, it is a religion, and the country stops to watch their teams play. And we saw a beautiful playing out at the Olympic Games in Rio, and they came home with that gold.
And that ball looks like it just went 10 meters, touched by an Australian hand, and back from the hand of Jasa Varamalua, bats it back to his zone. And there is Amanoni Nasila. The kick and chase. John Porch is back behind him. Maurice Longbottom, the revelation from the Munich Sevens in the game, wearing the number 11 for Australia, and looked like he was going to outpace Nasila if there would be a question in the in-goal.
Brian, Nasila nudged that ahead in stride, and that is so hard to do. His second kick, fortunately the third kick was just too strong and knocked it out the back of the dead ball area. But that is high skill there to kick the ball forward when you don't break stride.
Gareth, we're used to seeing the feet of these Fijian players and how deft they are with their footwork, but keep your eyes on number 11, Maurice Longbottom, wearing the number 11 for Australia. He was discovered, just a rare find, a former league player. Uncle played for the South Sydney Rabbitohs, but he was told he was too small to play rugby league. And if he gets a chance to use those dazzling feet, it is electric.
Well, I know Andy Friend will have a good look at him here, not only against his Fijian side, but throughout the weekend of the Silicon Valley Sevens. Very useful for these coaches ahead of the World Series.
So Nasila, we see the number 12 for Fiji, and he's the one who had the long kick and chase, and looks like he's taking a little time to get over to that touchline, maybe trying to recoup. The line out here, and there's a little bit of confusion about possible substitution. There's Veramalua, and he's talking to Leo Nakasau, and looked like an wrong person substituted for. And here comes Nakasau out of the game. Veramalua stays in as the captain of the tournament. Into the hands of Kuranambili.
Bit of mixed signals there. There's a trick play on to throw it back to the front. Namabili didn't quite get the same call as his jumper.
So Australia, quick line out. And the ball squirts forward. Unfortunate, it looked like a little bit of space in front of Kennewell. A referee playing advantage. Ball lands in the hands of Nasila. So Fiji with a little bit of a forward pass, it looked like, to the number 2. That is Joshua Makura Nambili.
Good refereeing for him, man Dolman in the middle, because any kind of possession is advantage for the Fijians. That final pass, just a little bit forward. Earlier, Australia had knocked the ball on. They let him play because Fiji had possession. And in sevens, you don't really want to reset.
So in the game for Fiji is number 11. That is Natani Vakayalia, and he is from Lelean High School, most recently a 100-meter sprint champ from that notorious high school where Waiseli Surevi once attended. And you can see the speed right there. Makes the save for Fiji. Ball kicked out the back, looks like 5-meter scrum.
Yeah, as the players are competing for it. Nice outside of the foot nudge there from O'Donnell, but the Fijian got there first. And because he was outside of his own end goal, it'll be a 5-meter scrum Australian put in.
Pressure here. Australia looking to extend its lead. Getting into some of those crucial minutes of the second half. Another score for Australia. Might be a backbreaker for Fiji once again, but if Fiji can somehow stave off this attack. There's Longbottom, the footwork, and a high shot. The high shot from Fiji. And you can see the Fijian player look like Nasila.
Yeah, this is part of the game, and when you get a height mismatch like that, I don't think there's a lot of vicious intent here. He went under the arm. It's obviously illegal in rugby. Any contact above the shoulders,
well,
the referee's going to have a look, and it's actually going to be a red card.
Wow. Well, you know, red card. Was that a full red?
I think I saw the red come out. There's the dummy. There's the arm.
Yeah.
Unacceptable. Above the head, and he did follow through, even though he's protesting there.
Yeah,
that's harsh.
No.
That was clear as day.
Yep. That was a high shot, and certainly no tolerance for that. Nasila out for the tournament, perhaps, Gareth. And the try to come from a very composed Australian side. Maurice Longbottom looks like he's going to be okay.
Australia totally dominant here. And look at the composure. They knew with Fiji one short there was going to be space, and they used the kick pass, the cross kick that was pounced on. And it's been all Australia in this one, it's got to be said.
The try scorer, Ben O'Donnell. The youngster from Randwick, and he scores a try. And there is Lewis Holland, who looks to convert. And a really nice shot at goal there. The conversion good. All right. Fiji has dug itself a sizable hole. The kick from Holland. And there's Longbottom on the corner. He's got space. No, the ball knocked on, says the referee, right off the restart, and so it'll come back. Looks like we were going to see Longbottom on his way in for a try. Instead, it'll be a scrum to Fiji. They still have time. They've got to score quickly and often. Gareth Reese, 2 minutes and some change. Fiji needs to move quickly.
They do, but how about Numbalata? He's got a nose for the line there. He saw that loose ball, and he's got some serious gets. But you're right, Fiji, they've done it before, but this is big ask. 3 tries in 2 minutes.
Well, you might as well send it straight into the arms of your new rocket man on the corner, the youngster. And there is Mbololalai. Number 5, Viliami Mbololalai. He's from Bua. And loses the ball, and just some inexperience showing from the Fijians and the composure of these Australians. Up 7 men to 6 for the rest of this match.
That's going to be a penalty as the Fijian player came back after the tackle on the wrong side. The quick tap.
A porous defense by Fiji, and just not looking like the classic Fijian teams of old. We've talked about the youngsters. This is not the entire full-strength Fijian team. Had to leave some players at home, and really you got to find some new blood to mix into the talent pool if you're head coach Gareth Baber.
I'll tell you what surprised me technically. That try came from a turnover way back when Fiji had possession and then lost the ruck. Normally the Fijians don't ruck a great deal. Their offload game is impeccable. Keep the ball alive. And what they've been doing in this game against the Aussies is going into tackles, creating rucks, and the Aussies have beat them at that game.
One of the notable things besides the struggles of the Fijians is the composure of this Australian team and just the skill work that they've done. So accurate around the contact area, so accurate in their decision making. When someone makes a decision, they make it, they go with it 100%, and they're backed entirely by the team.
Aussies have shorter confidence, you may have noticed over the years, but yeah, it's definitely on display here.
So one more chance for Fiji. 11 ticks left on the clock. Would be a rare event to see this team shut out in a sevens match. That may be what we're about to witness. Yes, we are, as number 5 for Australia. That is O'Donnell with his second on the day. A rare goose egg on the scoreboard for Fiji and Australia. Commanding lead.
He's got options both sides. He shows right, sees that's covered, so goes back inside. That is great work from O'Donnell offering that second inside ball.
Some really, I think, some questions on defense for these Fijians. Normally, some of those gaps that we've seen, the amount of space that the Australians have to run in, normally that space is closed down in Fijian teams that we've seen in the past, and lots to work on for Fiji. The final score, Australia 29 in a really a surprise spread over Fiji, who leaves with nothing to show for.
People with blue flags and blue hair aren't too happy with the start of the Silicon Valley Sevens, but don't count this Fijian side out. They'll find
And some familiar names for this Canadian setup. Admir Civanovic, John Moonlight, of course, the captain, wearing the number 4. He is 2 tournaments away from the 60 event mark on the World Series, an absolute Ironman. It's taken him 8 years to do it. He's somehow managed to keep his body in shape, and he looks pretty fit.
Of course, their countrymen played last night up in Vancouver against the New Zealand Maori. It's 30,000 up in BC Place. Andrew Coe, a member of their 7 squad, had a great game, was man of the match at fullback. So lots of action. And of course, the men in white, England, no strangers to the West Coast. They won Vancouver last year, so they like coming out here. Wonder if they'll put up a marker here at Silicon Valley 7.
Some new players coming through, being blooded by this England side, as we see Canada with their first hit up, cross the halfway line. Looking for space to run into. Couple of stalwarts here for England as well. Ethan Waddleton is here to captain the side, along with Harry Glover, who we've seen on the World Series before as well. And look for number 11, Ryan Oluwafela, who's a great finisher. Couldn't get a chance there. Tackle made, no offload to Oluwafela, so he'll have to wait for his next opportunity. The ball going wide. That is Glover, the aforementioned back for England. Penalty. Playing the ball on the ground over the top, I think sealing off was the referee's call, Gareth, if I'm not mistaken, and so it'll be Canada ball.
Yeah, I think he had contact, 2 white jerseys on the body, so that will be the call. This player slipping right in front of John Moonlight, not something I'd recommend. That'll give Paquet a chance to gain some territory. That's the role that Nathan Hirayama traditionally plays. Keep the team moving up the field, have a line-out call, and keep possession.
I like the as far as a mismatch goes, if you're Canada, I know you're trying to work the ball wide, but I think they have a size advantage against this English squad in the likes of Moonlight and Civanovic.
Yeah, they do. Add McCloskey to that.
Good ball off the top from Moonlight. Ball goes wide immediately out to the corner, and that is number 8, Jared Douglas. You may know his brother, Justin Douglas, the younger Douglas, who has been on the World Series tour for many a year. And Big Bro finally getting a shot out to Kay. The hit up for Canada. Out to Douglas. Douglas slips a tackle. Inside 5 meters. Underwood looks for the ball, gets it to Moonlight, and Moonlight dots it down. Yeah, that's a great job, and really hard to work yourself inside that stiff arm fend of John Moonlight. He dots down to put the first points on the board for Canada.
Good to see Liam Underwood out there. He's had a spade of injuries. Was part of Canada's 2015 World Cup side in 15, and he's trying to come back and claim a spot from Damien McGrath's side.
Yeah, Coach Damien McGrath telling me that Underwood, it's the first time he's been on the field really for Canada in 2 years because of those injuries.
Yeah, he's had a tough go. Man from Ontario, very talented. McGrath, of course, produced the first ever win for Canada on the series last year in Singapore. And they're looking to repeat that. And I know this is a very convenient stop for them, just 2-hour flight down to Victoria, where the team trains in Langford. And perfect preparation for them.
So Pat Kay with the kick. Really not a contestable ball, and so brought into the hands of Oluwafela for England. Leyland Gordon sets one back. Ball bouncing around, and now it's Gordon once again. Ball on the ground, and number 4, Will Edwards, trying to help out. Ball back to Glover. Glover flips it to Edwards, but England going backwards. Now on the front foot. Oluwafela, we've mentioned his name. Does he have the jets to get by Moonlight? Moonlight keeps him in front of him. Ball kicked through, no longer allowed in World Rugby, is kicking that ball through the ruck. And there's Glover. Glover finds some daylight across the 22-meter line of Canada. England with numbers looking dangerous. One pass will do it. And Olawufela finds the corner. Dots down for England to tie the score. 5-5 with the conversion to come. A well-worked try by England. Some good phase play.
Yeah, just reward for the English. Good enterprise right from their own end. Breaking out. At the end, Canada's run out of defenders. Simple hands, and Olawufela not going to be stopped from 10 yards out.
Charlie Kingham, great decision there. Sometimes you get that white line fever. You got a defender in you, and you're used to beating the guy in front of you, and you might be tempted, Gareth Reese, not that you ever were, to bowl over the man in front of you, but he makes the wise pass to Olawufela in the corner, and instead results in the sure 5-pointer.
Well, it's interesting. It looked like England were in all sorts of trouble, some poor offloads in their own end. Once they got it wide, it actually sucked in the Canadians, and there was a big overlap. That kick's missed, so we remained a tie at 5-all here.
So kick missed, 5-all. Couple minutes gone, first half. Competitive ball from both England and Canada. Bounces the right way to the red shirts. And then the big man for Canada, that's Jovanovic with the hit up. Canada looks to go wide, but England has come up. Good
line speed there from England, taking the space away. Douglas had no options.
That's a great tackle there from England on Kay. Manages to get the ball back. Moonlight not afraid to go into contact there, and does. England player with hands on the ball, though not on his feet, says the referee. And so Kay trying to find some help, and he does. And it is in the form of number 6, Isaac Kay.
No relation, but very happy to get the pop-up from Pat Kay on the ground. Moonlight doesn't get hard yards, goes forward.
It's a good setup, too. Well, so now it's Canada 10-0, zeros on the clock, so it will be halftime. The question is, will it be a 5-point lead or will it be a 7-point lead? And we're about to find out from the boot of Pat Kay. Well done. So it will be a 7-point advantage for Canada at the half. They lead England 12-5. We'll step away for just a moment. In the meantime, have a look at some of the intensity of these huddles. To Canada. Lots of rugby left to play, though, in this match. A full 7 minutes, and Pat Kay getting ready to start things out for Canada. Well, and that competition looked like it was won in the air by England, but the ball knocked on by Canada. So advantage being played, and England continuing. Ball out wide. That's number 1 for England. That's Waddleton. And Waddleton lays it back. Fergus Gyrey. Dropped by the Canadian defense. They come up hard. There's a mismatch here. Charlie Kingham, we saw him set up England's only try in the first half.
Penalty against Canada. Good skills on display here from the English players. Many of them in the full-time Sevens training squad, so you'd expect that. But this is an opportunity for them to impress.
That's good backdoor flick by Oluwafela. And so holding on to the ball, England guilty of that, and then kicking the ball away, slowing the game down technically. And he'll take a 2-minute break, and so England will be down 1-man Canada with a numerical advantage for the next 2 minutes.
He's going to join those supporters in the stands. Yeah, a little bit harsh maybe. Very strict in the Sevens game that after a penalty is awarded, if you move the ball or kick it away, there's a penalty awarded for England not releasing. And then as Canada's looking to take a quick one, he actually knocks the ball away. Worth noting, too, there's a bit of an injury on the field, but also a little bit more drizzle coming in, Brian. The rain, it looks a little hazy on your screens, but it's actually rain coming down. So tough for these athletes. Keep that ball in hand.
So Canada with the ball and a one-man advantage, and they've also got Matt Mullins. Mullins breaks the tackle, goes forward, but ball knocked forward, says the referee, and so an opportunity squandered by Canada. And if you're England, maybe look to slow things down a little bit with a one-man deficit.
Yeah, that clock is running in rugby. Canada worked an interesting set-piece move. It's almost like they had 3 layers of attackers. They got through Mullins but couldn't get the offload. Now, rightfully so, England managing the clock. 6 against 7 for them.
So the feed in the scrum by Will Edwards. And out to Leyland Gordon. Gordon just played in the Commonwealth Youth Games recently.
Yeah, England had a very successful season last year. It's found a little, won a couple of tournaments and found a little something there, and they're really building. I mean, all of English rugby's in a very healthy place. Of course, Nigel Melville, Director of High Performance, who was here in the USA and really values Sevens. So we're starting to see it in the UK a bit more, that the Sevens are taking a higher profile.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that this tournament will do is give some younger players a chance to be seen by their coaches. And, you know, last year, you remember, Gareth, the narrative for England was that they continued to produce the same squad tournament after tournament and didn't have any injuries. And then all of a sudden, the injury bug came, and you always got to have people in the background who can come in and do the job on the international series.
And that's what this tournament will do, building a base. Right now it's Canada. Mullins with a searing run, fending off a few players.
We talked about the size advantage of Canada. Ball spilled forward and a great tackle on number 3. That's Luke Bradley.
Charlie Kingham put in a big one, just meters from his own line, coming across there. Bradley can't get that right arm free.
Well, that's one of those types of moments, Gareth, that might turn a game or at least keep England in it. If Canada goes over for another try, especially with the minutes ticking away, it puts England in quite a deficit. But instead, it's the knock-on after a great tackle by Kingham, and England will get a chance. We saw them in their first try work deep from their own territory. Can they repeat the same ploy?
Yeah, we saw it in the Australia-Fiji game. One team almost scores, and the other team goes the route. But England still one short, remember, trying to work some magic.
Oh, so there is Gordon on the corner. Nice job by Underwood to come over in defense. Leyland Gordon lays it back. Instead, it's Canada on the chase and just getting across in time for England. Roles reversed, and all of a sudden it's Canada knocking on the door. It was a great set move to spring Gordon on the corner, but he couldn't get away from Underwood, and there, streaking down the field, was the number 11 for Canada, Phil Byrne. And it looked like Byrne was away.
How about Harry Glover, though? Looks like he's playing for the San Jose Earthquakes here at Avaya Stadium. The covering clearance.
And now the corner kick to come, of course.
Yeah. Canada did well, though, to corral that attack. Couldn't quite get the bounce. But credit Glover for sniffing it out.
So, staunch defense by England, but Canada, again, inside 5 meters. And Kay looks to the big man, Mullins. He looks to drag one across. He does. He will drag an English defender in goal and score it himself. Just a bulldogging run by Matt Mullins, and he extends the lead for this Canada squad. You see, simple move there. It's just a size mismatch that we talked about earlier. Gareth Rees, and Mullins does the work.
Yeah, Finn Dewar was on a physical mismatch, the English player. And Matt Mullins has that great combination of size, strength, and pace. And it's lethal in the sevens game. And that's the conversion you want right in front. So Canada really benefiting from that sin bin.
You know, the atmosphere around this team, we've seen some coaching changes throughout the Canadian Sevens team in the past few years. Really look like they're enjoying themselves under the new coach, Damien McGraw. They seem pretty relaxed around the hotel, Gareth. And you can see the way that translates on the field, and they feel a little bit more free is the feedback you get from the players. Yeah,
there's a lot of experience on this side, but I think crucially they're playing for each other. And they're playing for their country, which is so important. If you lose that, and that can be a tendency in sevens, then you're maybe not at your best.
All right, so England trying to get another score on the board before the clock runs down to zeros here. They're down by 2 tries, but every score meaningful in the early pool rounds. Pool A is being contested right now. England versus Canada. Canada winning by 2 tries.
Well, this could be important. It's going to be a very tight pool with Samoa and Ireland also in here. So every score counts, and England just trying to narrow that points difference, even though they may not win this one. And they've in the end knocked it on.
So Gordon coughs one up. Good defense by Canada. Some substitutions coming for England, and that is Samir Kabuch coming in. He played his rugby at Esher.
Brian, one of the great clubs in England, Esher. If you ever want to have a nice game of rugby and a pretty nice time in the clubhouse as well, go to Esher. You might get to run into John Inverdale, hear a few stories.
Spoken from a man who has taken advantage of the hospitality of rugby clubs around the world, Gareth Rees, to my right.
A compliment.
Canada, 0's on the clock, 1 last chance. Ball goes backwards, says the referee, so they'll play on. And England, great job to win the ball in the ruck, holding on, says the ref. 1 more chance for the English, and they'll get one through the work of Finn Dewar. Dewar recently played for the Samurai Sevens, and he dots down for England. Kick to come, but always a good feeling to score 1 more, even if you lose a match, so to get a few on the board.
Even though the Hooters sounded penalty against Canada, so the game will continue. And I got to wonder, Brian, at the end of day 1 here in San Jose, when we're tallying the pool points here in Pool A, England, Canada, Samoa, and Ireland, there's going to be some tough matches. I wonder if that score may come into it as we count back on points difference.
Differential crucial as we head into the late rounds of pool play for sure. The conversion kick bangs off of the near upright, and so 19-10, the final score. England defeated by Canada, the opening round of Pool A play, and we will see in just a moment Samoa taking on Ireland. One is the Irish. Of course, they're in green, and Samoa in the blue. Now, Gareth, years ago, this may have been a predictable outcome, but Ireland has put some resources into their sevens program. They almost knocked off Australia in September in tournament play in Munich, Germany. They've got their eyes on the Olympics and the World Cup.
Well, Ireland almost got to the Olympics, beating Samoa in Monaco for the Olympic qualifying. But David Nucifora, their high-performance director, understands the value of sevens, understands how good it is for young players, and they've been doing well in the European Grand Prix. So Samoa will have a tough test here. Of course, coached by Gordon Titchens, the Samoans. As I arrived at the stadium today, they were all going out for their warm-up. And, well, Titchens always looks grumpy, but all the Samoan boys look pretty grumpy to be up that early here on a Saturday morning.
You know, what's funny about Gordon Titchens is, from my experience, after he moved from the All Black Sevens to coaching Samoa, he's actually gotten a little bit warmer. I think, being on a remote island in Samoa maybe will soften you up a little bit. Very charismatic of late, the formerly grumpy Gordon Titchens. And there's the first break by number 2. That's Ian Fitzpatrick, the man they call Fitzy. Great line break straight out of the gates for Ireland. And now McNulty moves it across the field. Samoa, known for their physical defense, comes up hard, traps the ball on the ground, and holding on, says the referee. And so a little bit of a get-out-of-jail-free card for the Samoans right off the bat. And number 7, Patrick Fa'apale. He is one of the old guard now on this Samoan Sevens team for Gordon Titchens.
Referee Chandry in the middle there, deeming that the Irish were holding on at the tackle.
And so just like that, now it's Samoa inside the Irish 22. The throw to come from Fa'apale. Across the front, Motunga wearing the number 5. And Silau Talamau. Alacio. And trying to find some help on the corner in the form of Joe Perez. Might know his brother Paul Perez from years past, wearing a blue shirt. And now little bro Joe gets to take his turn for Samoa. They do well to dig it out, although contested well also by Ireland, and they're not afraid to be physical as well. And there is Fitzpatrick, but the ball comes quickly to Fa'apale, and Samoa trying to find a way through this this Irish defense, but the Irish defense has been staunch. Brian Mullen with the 12 puts in a big tackle, but now a pass out wide, stolen by McNulty. Great job stepping in that passing lane by Harry McNulty for Ireland.
You see the referee waving his arms. He's saying he wasn't offside because it was an offload, so there was no ruck for him that he would have been in offside position.
Just taking his eyes off the ball for momentarily is Billy Dardis. Dardis, the captain, player for the Leinster Academy. Played for the Ireland under-20s in 2014 and 15, but can't find the grip. Looks like the conditions may still be a little bit slick out there. Still some moisture hanging around us here at Avaya Stadium. A beautiful ground here in San Jose as the feed from Patrick Fa'apale for Samoa.
Good attacking position for Samoa, 15 meters out. Options both sides of the scrum, but they're immediately enveloped by green jerseys.
And now Fa'apale digs. Again, the slickness of the ball, perhaps an issue here. McNulty regathers, but he's got a blue shirt draped around him, and so they dig once again. Very similar styles from both of these teams so far. Physical, confrontational. Ireland. Ruck is resourced well. Player on the ground for Samoa touching the ball, and that's a no-no. And so Ireland will get a chance to get out of inside their own 22. Most likely a kick here, Gareth?
Yeah, just maybe settle things down. Both these teams will fancy their chances. Pool A, we saw England and Canada go up earlier. Canada getting that one. But this pool's wide open. That's a really good kick downfield, gaining 50 meters.
Yeah, that's a really narrow angle, but still a ton of territory gobbled up by that Irish kick. And so well done by Dardis, the captain, and now he'll throw the ball in. McNulty is the target. He goes up. Ball somehow finds its way back into Irish hands, although bobbled for just a moment, and now wide is the option for Ireland. Good tackling by the Samoans. Ball on the ground, kick unintentionally, but into the hands.
Referee letting play go on there. Both sides thought they had a complaint for a penalty.
Fa'apale. He finds Falanico. And then Perez comes to clean up. Motunga to Fa'apale.
Good pick
out
up.
to Olosio. Talamau on the ground. Infraction by the Irish, and so a penalty goes quickly from Samoan hands.
There, finally the penalty comes. It looked like two Irishmen had their hands on it legally.
Now it's Muller.
Well, if you don't think Sevens is physical, the hit that just came in from Perez, Joe Perez, was a crusher just as the ball was passed on.
Yeah, Brian Mullen, 22-year-old from Trinity. Just got introduced to Joe Perez in, I'd say, a pretty warm way. Would you?
That's about the only warm thing out here. The wind's picking up, the rain is here, and it's not California weather that we thought we were coming into.
I think Harry McNulty in the scrum for Ireland just breathed, and it looked like he was standing on top of a mountain, condensed his breath. It's cold in San Jose. Who would have thought? Falanico. Nice little drive forward, but bottled up by the Irish eventually. And now it's McNulty. Good double-up tackle there. Olosio out to Fa'apale, playmaker for the Samoans. Trying to get something going there. That is Perez, but he slips on the ground. Looks like maybe the Samoans have chosen a short stud in their cleats today.
Are we going to see a scoreless half? Yes, we are. That is halftime, and rare in the Sevens game. And a credit to both sides tackling, to be fair. A few spill balls, but we've got a 0-0 here.
Yeah, not a whole lot of creative play from either side, but defense certainly has been the name of the game in the first half for both Samoa and Ireland. And so we are locked up at zeros, not a score to be shown to these fans in the late stages of the second half, or the first half. the end of Pool A action from round one of the Silicon Valley Sevens, the inaugural Silicon Valley Sevens. An eerie kind of atmosphere here. Gareth Reese, a little sticky out there. The rain has started to fall once again. Calling for intermittent rain this morning, but clearing through the weekend, according to the weatherman. Well, hopefully he's correct in that.
The Irish missed maybe. Just reminded that the last time an Irish national team played in the United States, the pretty famous day in a sold-out Soldier Field in Chicago when the 15s team beat the mighty All Blacks finally.
And finally overcame the 111-year drought in front of them.
Only a few days after the Cubbies did the same thing for the World Series.
Indeed, a great weekend in Chicago.
Well, more spilled ball, the conditions contributing a little bit.
Ireland should be used to playing in these conditions. A little bit cold, a little bit rainy. Sounds like a perfect day in Ireland.
Ooh.
McNulty with the penalty, goes quickly. Just a nice individual effort there to find some space to run in. That's the captain, Billy Dardis. Ball to the corner. That is Mullen. Mullen finds pay dirt in goal. And finally, after 8 minutes, there's a score in this match, and it is Mullen on the corner.
Well, Mullen gets the try, but watch McNulty's role here, the quick hands. There's the initial break. Quick breakdown. And watch, actually it wasn't McNulty, I'll give it, it was Connors with a catch and give under pressure, and that gives the space that Mullen needed.
A lot of interesting stories here in these international teams. And Brian Mullen, the try scorer, one of them, his father is Dutch, is the ambassador to Abu Dhabi, and Brian was born in Nairobi, Kenya, has lived in the Netherlands, Nairobi, Abu Dhabi, and somehow found his way to Ireland. I believe his mother is Irish, and that's why he is a product of Trinity and the scorer of the first try in this match.
It's very interesting, Brian. Some good research there. It is now streaming down. The rain is picking up here. Irish missed that kick off the side post, so it's still only a 5-point ball game here.
Certainly not enough cushion to feel comfortable if you're Ireland. Sometimes the conditions have a way, these type of conditions have a way of dropping the score lines just a little bit.
It's always difficult for defenders as well. You forget about attack. Yeah, it's hard to catch the ball, but it's much harder to get your footing as a defender, and you often see missed tackles in this kind of weather.
That is the number 6. That's Murphy Paulo. Another good story. Paulo, the 6'4" Samoa, first identified by Gordon Titchens. He was working in a bank, playing for a village team, but there's a try by Jacob Ale. And Ale goes over for Samoa, and that'll be the equalizer. Difficult conversion to come. But just like that, Samoa is on the other end of the field.
Sometimes, Brian, in sevens, despite all the team play, you just need to win some one-on-one battles. And look at Ale's determination here. He fends off the tackle of Kennedy and then shows the gas as well. And, you know, sometimes you just got to say, I'm going for this. We spent a whole half chucking it side to side and nothing got done.
Yep.
I'm just going to back myself.
Well, and the disappointing thing for Ireland, too, is their defense was so staunch in the first half. You would expect those head-up tackles have to be made, and they were made in the first half, and that's the first, really, the chink in the armor of this Irish defense that we've seen.
And one thing you and I know, we got all the Polynesian teams here this weekend at the Silicon Valley Sevens. Tongans are here. If you don't make your first step tackles, it's going to be a tough day playing sevens against these boys.
Absolutely. Going to be a lot of sore shoulders by the end of the day. So another slip. Conditions definitely a little greasy on the field. Both teams have gone down. Knock on by Ireland, and so Samoa with the ball now inside the 22-meter line of Ireland. and they've got a good chance late in the second half of this Pool A matchup. Stick around, folks. We are just a few games away from seeing both New Zealand and the United States in back-to-back matches in opening rounds of Pool C, and that'll follow the Ireland-Samoa match, but a good one we have here. 5-5, locked up, 2 minutes and some change left. Samoa tests the corner, but well done by number 11. That is Jordan Conroy. And there's Paolo. Ball dug out across the field. And into contact. Sometimes Rain has a habit of doing that too, right? Shortening the field a little bit, putting players in a little bit tighter of a box because handling is a little bit more difficult.
Oh, he was through. The pass didn't go to hand, but now they're through.
And Joe Perez dots down for Samoa. And it looked like Ireland had figured it out and had enough men on scene in defense.
It's just relentless driving, tight play, in fact, in these conditions.
Good tackle that came across there from Ian Fitzpatrick, and then a little bit of confusion. The ball went off a hand, but then backwards and into the hands of Joe Perez. And sometimes you just get a gift just laying on the ground for you. All you got to do is pick it up and run it across the line, and that was the story for Joe Perez's try there.
Still an important conversion.
Plenty of time left for Ireland. And Paolo sprays that one wide, and so we will have a kickoff, and 5 points is the deficit. Certainly not insurmountable in this last 50 seconds, but the kickoff, crucial. Gareth Rees, Ireland's got to come away with it.
Well, they've got to secure possession, and they got to try and find a hole in this blue wall. The Samoans have done a pretty good job of defending so far. This is grade 7 stuff. 45 seconds, as you said, more than enough to win it.
Samoa kicks deep, which is a nod to their defense, but it's going to go out the back of the in goal, and so all the way back to halfway, and that's a mistake by the youngster wearing the number 6 for Gordon Titchens for the first time, Murphy Paolo.
Well, it's actually taken about 25 seconds off the clock. Interesting tactic. So Ireland will have a chance. Penalty at halfway. The Samoans have to be back 10 meters, and now they'll work on one of their set-piece moves straight from the training pitch.
So Dardis jogs left. Ball goes right. Trying to work to the wide side of the field now, and the pass surely will do it. Oh, that's great job over the ball there by Samoa. Just not enough players on scene. And it was Paolo who made the mistake on the restart, but really comes back and redeems himself in the contact area. And cruelly for Ireland, they'll lose the ball in a penalty situation to end the game. Great match, super tight. Samoa 10, Ireland 5. Coming up, we will see New Zealand for the first time. The All Black Sevens are here. They will take on Chile. And afterwards, the United States makes its first run out on Avaya Stadium. Stick with us, folks. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Avaya Stadium here at the inaugural Silicon Valley Sevens, where New Zealand and Chile are about to square off in the first match of Pool C. Last matches of the first round of pool play today. Gareth Reese beside me. New Zealand versus Chile. How do you see this one going, Gareth?
The men in black will be heavily favored here. Chile have had a taste of the best sevens in the world through their involvement in the USA Sevens. But, yeah, it's a mismatch, although there's some younger players in this New Zealand team. A few combinations not really tested yet. We're going to find out right now.
Perhaps some of the future stars of the All Black Sevens team in front of you. A few of the players. One with the headband, Luke Masarewa, whose father played for the All Black Sevens team years ago and now has contributed yet another athlete to New Zealand's rugby prowess. But Chile, also with some experience. Last saw them in Vegas, Gareth Reese.
Yeah, Philippe Brangier, their prop. He's been around for a while.
Yeah, Brangier. He's the oldest person on the team. He wanted to remind me yesterday he's not quite 30 yet, so stop calling him old. So I said, fair enough. So the kickoff, and won by Chile, and they've got first ball and first chance.
Penalty there as the New Zealanders knock the ball down. And it's
intentionally, says the referee. He was playing some advantage, but Chile with a one-man advantage. Early minutes of the first half Pool C play, and that is number 4, Salesi Rayasi. Rayasi, ton of upside, according to his coach, Tomasi Thama, who is here at the helm. Now Chile trying to stretch this shorthanded defense of New Zealand. Number 11, Julio Blanc, takes one into contact, and now should be numbers out wide, and a nice little darting run and a good penetrating run there from Chile. They've got numbers in the corners, but the defense comes swiftly across. It's knocked on and scooped up by New Zealand. Great bend, but do not break defense from New Zealand. They're on their own goal line. They'll have a scrum, but they get out of trouble with Chile looking pretty good and exciting with ball in hand.
Almost the dream start as they're pounding with the line. Pedro Pablo tried to get the right arm free to reach forward, but he lost the ball. And worth noting, if you're just tuning in, the conditions are pretty poor for Sevens rugby. Serious downpour of rain here in San Jose. The surface is really nice, but it's slick right now, and we've seen a lot of the earlier games teams spilling the ball, and that was the case for Pedro Pablo there.
The crowd, though, undaunted, and they are up. They found some shelter under the top of the stadium, and there's still plenty of people just weathering the storm, waiting for a beverage at the bar here at Avaya. Ball moves across, and that is number 11, Levi Harmon. He's just out of high school, is Harmon.
This time it's Jesse Houston who succumbs to the conditions. He spilled it forward. And off the bench, you'll see at the bottom of your screen, the good crowd huddling up there under the rain, under the cover, I should say. But coming on field, Rayasi back in. We're still on 7-7. New Zealand at full strength.
So now it's Chile with the put in, and the number 4, Marcelo Torrealba. Good defense. Sometimes the rain just it takes the space away a little bit, makes it easier to defend. Luke Masarewa with the tackle. Ball scooped up and nicely offloaded there. That's number 1, the captain, Felipe Brangier.
So Bryony got over the line, but he couldn't get it down and was shunted into touch. A lot of strength shown by the New Zealand defense there.
But for Chile, now you've been close twice. That's a good clearing kick from New Zealand, kind of re-rack the defense. And Chile with a nice little enterprising kick, but the ball doesn't bounce up kindly for number 5 there. Rodrigo Fernandez was the man with the ball, but again, even the rain sometimes can mess with the ball's rotation and the way it kicks up off the turf.
Brangier driving in the side of the ruck there, penalized for not coming in the back.
Oh, Rayasi, 6'5", but he's got tons of gas. Finally taken down, and there on scene is Harmon.
Well, that's an interesting interpretation. I think it may be a tough call from referee Grove White there. The Chilean seemed to be on his feet.
And now Masarewa stands up in defense. Offloads. The inside pass goes to ground, and so slippery conditions wreaking havoc with the handling here in Pool C play at Avaya Stadium, and that's a great little backdoor flick by Rayasi. Off the ground, but he was not held, so flicks it up.
Credit the Chilean defense here. They're putting in their tackles, although another penalty against them for not releasing.
And the referee says Felipe Brangier there was not supporting his own weight with his feet, and so technically off the ground. He pleads his case. The referee won't hear it. New Zealand, zeros on the scoreboard right now. Looking to cross over. There is Rayasi. Well, he flicks it back inside. That is the man they call Nacho. And now, Chile, can they finish? Julio Blanc streaking down the sideline, but bottled up. Great cover defense. The last gasp. You see Rayasi throws it into the hands of Ignacio Silva, and then Silva, nice little interplay there until it gets into the hands of Blanc. And Blanc tries to find another gear, but he cannot. And Jesse Houston tracks him down.
He's really got to do better there. He's got to pull out and get back to his own teammates. Dying with the ball is not an option.
And now it's Blanc. Brangier bulldozes a few black shirts away. Great step there by number 5, Fernandez. Oh, and Brangier, does he have a try? Momentum carries him over the line, and the first score on the board goes to the Chileans.
Pure determination from the veteran. He stole the ball, he gave the ball, he got it back, and had some work to do, and he got it done.
And, you know, one of the things we always talk about when you see a team like Chile is these guys, they're not professional rugby players, Gareth Rees. The try scorer, Felipe Brangier, sells life insurance during the day.
Policy cashed in there.
Yeah, exactly.
5
Well,
points.
I'll tell you what, you know, all credit to Chile. They've had most of the ball. That's the third time they've been inside the 22-meter line of the vaunted New Zealand team's half. And so, you know, you got to give credit where credit is due. We'll take a step away at the half. Surprisingly, Chile 7-0 over New Zealand. We'll be back for the second half. Very animated halftime huddle for the Chileans. You could see their coach, Edmundo Alfos, very passionate.
Oh, yeah. How about that for a rare scoreboard in World Rugby? Chile 7, New Zealand 0.
Yeah, for those of you just turning in, that is not a mistake. New Zealand has not scored. Chile, the first to score. They converted a try at the end of the first half.
This is not a soccer game. Chile, and good value for it, it's got to be said. Mixture of that experience through Brangier, the try scorer. Good composure, good defense. Probably could have had another try in there, Brian, and New Zealand really haven't had much possession.
Yeah, we saw one try that went into touch before it could be scored, and very close. Chile could be up 14-0 at this point.
And rightfully slowing the game down here with the lead. Going to take their time.
Torrealba starts things off. Free kick from the halfway line after New Zealand kicks into touch on the full to start the second half. Ball a little bit slick, but still kind for Chile. Goes back to Torrealba. He's trying to find some help. Defense comes up hard, but a little bit fragmented. You can see the defense not working together necessarily for New Zealand. You'd like to see that wave of black come up all together, I think, if you're the coach, Tomasi Thama. And of all the options, that might actually not work out that badly for Chile. Just boot it down, flirt with the corner a little bit on the touchline, and maybe slow things down a little bit more. A stall tactic, but always dangerous to give your opponent the ball, especially if your opponent is wearing a black shirt with a silver fern on it.
That would be my interpretation. You don't want to give possession to these guys. We said they haven't had much, but we know they're potent when they do get it. Although if you're going to steal their line out, that's okay too.
So in the tunnel, and then a little bit of back chat, I believe, from the Chilean player, and I think that is going to land him in the sin bin for 2 minutes.
Just out of your shot. I think the player may have knocked the ball away after the penalty was awarded at the line out to New Zealand. So as we saw in the first 2 minutes of this match, New Zealand will have a one-man advantage now over Chile's 6 men.
So TJ Viega in the game wearing the number 10 for New Zealand. His father played in the World Cup in 91 and 95 for Tonga.
Big call there. Penalty against New Zealand for not releasing. Credit the Chilean defender. I think it might have been Ignacio. Really good work. And not only do they get possession, but they can slow it down, kick to touch, take another 30 seconds off the clock. Oh, they're tapping. I'm surprised at that.
Well, 3 of these Chilean players actually spent some time in Christchurch in New Zealand honing their skills. And one of them right there, Ignacio Silva, knocks the ball forward.
Blew the whistle there, but I thought it's probably an advantage to New Zealand. And New Zealand brings on some fresh legs in the form of Jordan Highland.
So Rayasi off the field. Highland on. Mason Emerson out there also for New Zealand. On a streaking run, but loses the grip on the ball, knocks it forward, and Chile's going to get the ball back one way or the other. Trying to find space in front. There's a little half gap. Pass not made, and the rain seems to have tightened the field just a little bit, put these players in a little bit of a box. Hard to get the ball on a big looping pass to the corner when the ball's rain-soaked. And now a penalty.
Yeah, that ball was knocked forward.
Looks like the referee reaching into his pocket.
Oh. So as the Chilean sin bin is about to expire in a few seconds here, in fact, it's expired now, the players will cross over, and New Zealand will spend 2 of the last 3 minutes here, 1 short.
2 sin bins crossing in the night, Gareth Reese. These 2.
And this time, rightfully so, Chile taking the territory. They've still got the line-out throw-in off that penalty.
Well, I mean, you got to be careful. If you're New Zealand, you got 2.5 minutes left in this game. You got to start making more use of the ball that you're getting. And credit Chile. They've forced some turnovers. They've also forced some penalties on the New Zealand side as well.
Yeah, that was a tough. We saw the good replay from our team. There you go. Look at that shot there. It's showing how much rain there is. But as he was going in to make the tackle, that's when it went off his hand. And that's why he's in the sin bin. Brange's going to get a rest, is he? Some subs.
That looks like Silva. Nacho, the man they call the little barrel, wearing the number 7. I'm trying to figure out if he's subbed, so it looked like there was some substitution confusion. I don't know if they were trying to pull one over on New Zealand. It looks like the line out not straight. Referee doesn't call anything. Chile with the ball. Everything going the way of the men in red shirts at this moment. Although, as I say that, knocked on by Chile. Now New Zealand gets a chance. 2 minutes and some change left on the clock. 7-0 is the score. New Zealand has a goose egg. They'll like to erase that. Edmundo Alfos, the coach of Chile, now sending in the reinforcements.
Well, that gives you an idea of the conditions. The field's starting to tear up a little bit. And
it's a little bit soupy out there, Gareth. All right, so finally off comes number 7, Ignacio Silva.
There you go, some of the divots coming up there. But Chile rightfully bringing on some fresh legs. They're about to defend a scrum here, even though there's only 6 New Zealanders on the field. This is danger time for Chile, protecting their 7-point lead. They stole the head. That's incredible.
So Chile with the ball. Less than 2 minutes left in the game. A 7-point lead over New Zealand. I assure you this has not happened before for Chile.
Oh, Chilean
Masarewa grabs the ball. He'll look to go quickly.
Just New Zealand just searching for anything. There's no inspiration out there. And it's been stolen again by Chile at the tackle.
Somehow the ball slips out of New Zealand's grip.
Good line speed from Chile.
And that's going to be a head-high tackle. Unintentional, but head-high nonetheless. Up too high. Certainly not a yellow card infringement, but it's going to be a penalty. Now, Gareth, 45 seconds on the clock. New Zealand with the ball and a 7-point deficit.
They're looking to get their sin bin man on the field. They're choosing to kick to touch, so they've got the line out there, and they're going to be allowed to bring on. So it's 7-on-7. New Zealand back to full strength, and they got less than 30 seconds to even this one up. This would be a historic result for Chilean rugby. Penalty against Chile. He's kicked ahead. Chile just need to take that out of bounds, and that could do it. The Hooters going to go.
Wow. Rarefied air for Chile.
The referee's having a chat with his assistant official.
The assistant referee changes her hand, points to New Zealand. So taken out by Chile is the call. Zeros on the clock. 5 meters is the distance just to get close.
Well, they stole it.
And it's stolen by Chile. Chile beats New Zealand.
Look at
Chile has beaten New Zealand. 7-0 is the score. Well, it's a historic moment for Chile.
Well, the Silicon Valley Sevens is good to Chile. The players, the bench, the fans, they're jumping up and down. They cannot believe it.
They've been the most relaxed team that you can come across inside the team hotel this week. Take a look at the steal from the top. Great job of just taking the ball. Front jumper was the call. Some teams elect not even to try to contest that. They stay on the ground. Instead, they went up. It came their way, kicked into touch. And the smiles on the faces say it all.
Well, how about
Chile and a little bit of disbelief.
Yeah, Philippe Branger, Blanc, all these guys have been around for a little while, and they can't quite believe it. The part-timers from Chile have beaten the professionals from New Zealand.
Well, in all fairness, too, we said that they had control of the play in the first half, Gareth. Not to take anything away from this Chilean team, they were the ones who outworked New Zealand in the first half, took advantage of their opportunities, and then a smart second half. They stalled when they needed to. They did a great job of getting the ball and the turnovers.
Los Condores, the Condors are flying high here in San Jose.
There, the legendary mop of number 7, Folau Nua, in the number 7 jersey. The captain on the day here is Ben Pinkelman. He'll wear the number 2 as usual. One of the best grinders in this game. Take a look at the roster here. Malin Al-Jabori. He'll get the start. Pinkelman. Martin Yosefo also on the field. Matai Leuda as well. And Ryan Matias. And the Tongan matchup. Well, some familiar faces. You got to keep, if Viliami Yiongi is on the field, you gotta always keep him in check. A very dangerous player, Yiongi. Nua to Yosefo. Leuda on the corner. Matias digs it out. That is Stephen Thomasine, and now it's Pinkelman. Pinkelman finds Al-Jabori. Al-Jabori on the corner. Goes wrecking ball, goes through a few bodies. Back to Thomasine. Nua trying to work space on the corner for Leuda. Back inside the offload. Goes backwards, says the referee. Still United States ball. There's Yosefo trying to find Leuda once again. Held up well by Tonga, but he somehow manages to get to the ground. And now Folau Nua once again. Ball slips right out of his hands. It's a knock on, and the first whistle in the game. The scrum will go to Tonga.
Well, referee Snyder blowing up there. Looked like it might have been an advantage to Tonga, but a good energetic start from the Americans, as you'd expect. Putting some phases together. This is ironic. A great pickup, but then he spills it when he tries to pass. I thought at that point they might let him play on. Tonga were away.
You got the combo of the tape on the hand and the moisture on the ball, and going to have to grip that one a little bit tighter. So a knock on by Tonga, scooped up into the hands of Matai Leuda. He'll try to go himself. He's got the distance. Can he dot it down? The question. Referees will have a chat here. If anyone saw clear grounding, it will be a try. Otherwise, nope, held up, says the referee. It'll be a 5-meter scrum to the United States. A great job in goal. And you watch again, you see Leuda picks up the knocked on ball by Tonga. He'll stretch across the line, certainly get in goal, but then can he get it down? And no is the answer. A good call by the assistant referees. Well done.
And look at those 3 referees in green. We have an in-goal judge, of course, for sevens who gave a little bit of advice as well.
So now ball knocked on in the scrum by the United States. Tonga now in possession. And that's number 11, Tino Poit. And it'll go back, the referee will, to the advantage. The first knock on by the United States in a scrum to Tonga.
That's a mistake from the Americans there with a scrum 5 meters. You got to clear that ball away and keep the pressure on. Just knocked out of his hands.
Well, we just saw that with New Zealand. They lost 2 set pieces in a row. First a scrum to Chile, then the line out that they needed to have at the end of the game. These set pieces crucial, and coaches expect them to be automatic.
Possession is king in the sevens game.
So now the long kick downfield, waiting for it. Folau Nua tries to grab it, but it goes backwards off his hands, regathered, and now looking for options. And his option straight into number 6, Peasapi Moimoi. Gathered again. Yosefo tries to find Leuta. Leuta on the corner. Looked like the backdoor pass was there for Yosefo, but the connection not made. And now another knock on Tonga again with the put in, and it'll be a scrum.
You can see what Leuta was trying to do. He was directing traffic, trying to suck in those 2 Tongan defenders and then put the ball into space. But under these conditions, he couldn't get the pass away.
Talked to Coach Mike Friday yesterday about Carlin Isles and his return, and there's been a lot of hype around the return of the fastest man in world rugby. But he said Isles is just a couple weeks before he's ready. Didn't want to put him on the field too soon, and you certainly can't blame him. Thomasine now with the chase. Oh, he can't get his foot on the ball. First, number 1, Kalu from Tonga can't get his hand on it. Then Thomasine can't get on his foot on it. Tonga finally regathers, and now they're driving towards the halfway line.
Brian, under these conditions, we're seeing teams get some success with a really tight game plan. Let's pick and go, pick and go. There it is. A lot of contact.
Now Al-Jabori. Folanua finds a little gap. The dummy, so notorious, and takes 3 Tonga defenders. Sets the ball back, but he's held the ball on the ground, and therefore a penalty. And now the kick ahead, not sure if that's an onside position. Ball skipping around in goal, and finally Mattias dots it down. Interesting turn of events, ball squirting everywhere.
Well, that man there, number 10, Chris Mattina, how smart was he? He knew the Tongan player was going to have to kick it through again, so he took the short angle, Brian. He didn't chase him out wide, and then he was able to snuff out the second kick ahead and save and defend the American try line.
My apologies to Chris Mattina. I've been calling him Ryan Mattias the entire game. It's the number 10 from the University of Delaware, Chris Mattina, who just saved that try for the United States. And now Pinkelman looking around for support. Instead, finds 4 red jerseys. And instead, the turnover knocked on by Pinkelman.
It's a comedy of errors at the moment. No one can really stick the ball. But exciting nonetheless. The crowd have just, as you said, raised the temperature. They're right into this. Yeah, good shot there. The American pride, Silicon Valley Sevens. Will the Eagles be around at the end of day 2 here to lift that cup?
We've seen some high-scoring affairs at the beginning of this tournament early this morning, and then the rain suddenly came, and now the scores have really started to get a lot lower. Ball to the corner. Bottled up in defense, though. There's 2 there.
Oh, what a pass.
It's a great offload from the ground. Both defenders there for the United States. Matai Leuta and Folau Nua had done good to come across in defense, but they didn't look up and scan the field and see the support runner coming in support, and a great offload from the ground.
Well, Tevita Alatini backed himself. Great wide pass here. He takes on the Americans, but as you said, there's 2 of them there. But watch what he does. He keeps his right arm free, left arm free, and then just pops it up to the oncoming runner, and Sokai gets the first score of this match.
Good support there by Sakai. So the conversion good for Tonga. 7-0 the score.
And the Tongans have had a sort of a mixed sevens history over their time. Obviously, dreadful tragedy last year, losing their captain and a change of coach. But they're a side that you think would be naturally suited their traditional game to sevens, and it hasn't always come off, but this may be the start of something special for the men in red.
So Chris Mattina will watch the ball roll all the way in goal.
So the hooter sounded, and that should do it.
So the 22-meter drop kick, the referee's going to allow it, even though there's zeros on the clock. So the United States still has a chance to play a little bit of rugby before the half ends. Some questions about the law here, and the law is that if it goes in goal off the kickoff and dots down, then it's a free kick from the halfway line, not a 22-meter dropout. So after a little bit of cajoling from Mike Friday, I believe, on the sideline, the ref gets it right.
Yeah, referee Schneider rightfully takes his time and does get it right in the end. But crucially for Tonga, it gives U.S. a last chance in this half to get the scoreboard even up.
Stacked to the right. This is Folau-Nua territory here. He surveys the scene. There's definitely space on the corner for Al-Jabori. The leg drive. Thomasine around the blind side. Nobody home to defend, and he'll go over for the United States and put one down before the half is over. Great heads-up play by Thomasine. All he does is survey the breakdown. No red shirts in front of you. You just head straight down the alley, and that's exactly what he did.
How many times over the years, Brian, when USA backs are against the wall, that Stefan Thomasine steps up and takes it on. Look, he's perusing. He has a little look. The red jerseys file out left. He goes right, and he's in.
So Stephen Thomasine with the 5-pointer, and he'll try to convert his own. Kick is up, a little short. And so at the half, 7 points to 5. Tonga in the lead by 2, but the United States starting to look more dangerous. We'll take a look at these huddles during the halftime. Be right back for the second half. We'll see.
How'd you like that line out, Brian? If you're the fans,
that was a beauty. I mean, perfect
good
technique, good straight arms, commitment there, good straight body by the lifted player. Thumbs up. Nobody home. A great kickoff there to start the second half by Folau-Nua into the waiting arms of the Americans. And now Al-Jabori trying to find Leuta. He'll try to break a tackle. He'll go through one. He'll go through two. Should be a numerical advantage on the corner. Now it's Mattias in the game finally and out to the corner. And there is Thomasine. He'll score his second of the day and put the United States in front.
The lineout boys liked it.
They've brought their own cheerleaders with them.
Well, this to me is textbook stuff. You saw Mike Friday at halftime yelling at his troops. Al-Jabori does his job. Look at those 4 red jerseys right around him. So that creates the opportunity out wide. Simple skills, well executed, and in the end, too much space and a good run-in for the Americans.
It's just good execution, and that's what we've seen out of the likes of Danny Barrett for the last few years on this American Sevens team is you challenge a couple of defenders at the same time, suck in a few, and the United States has done a much better job of utilizing the numerical advantage, and skillfully they're a lot better than they were in years past. A great conversion there, just slips in.
Just off the post and in. Could that be vital at the end of this one? But you're right, Brian. The only time the Americans don't look good is when they lose their shape. They don't stick to a plan. And that was a good example of them executing good team sevens try.
So in for the United States is Kayvon Williams wearing the number 11. Also Maka Anufe in the game. Skies high to get the ball, and it's Anufe to Williams to win the restart.
Well, whatever Geezer said, that's Mikey Friday at halftime. It's working because the Americans are a different team out here in second half.
So Nua digs one out. There's Anufe to Pinkelman. Williams to Al-Jabori. And that was pretty predictable based on the results of the last time he ran into several Tonga defenders. Now a numerical advantage, but well defended by Tonga. So Pinkelman takes it straight up the guts. It looked like a little bit too high in the tackle from Tonga, and so a penalty advantage being played for a while, but now the ref brings it back after Pinkelman's wrapped up. Al-Jabori to kick things off. Normally this is the Folau Nua type of play that we'll see, but
how about Al-Jabori taking on the Danny Barrett role and just crushing people and running straight at him?
Anufe spills one forward in contact, so a squandered opportunity off of the penalty play from the United States. But now a counterattack. Nice job by Pinkelman. And Kayvon Williams shows Mike Friday that he too can finish. Well, all of that started with Pinkelman in the counter ruck. We've seen it so many times. He's really become a specialist in knowing, sensing when that ball is juicy enough to go after.
Good teamwork there. Perhaps got away with one as his hands were on the ground, but they did push back, and there was no Tongans there to protect the ruck ball.
So now it's the USA, and Nua will attempt the conversion. 10 points is the spread. Nua trying to make it 12.
The left-footed kicker. This is a tougher conversion on that wrong side. The last one winning off the post. Does this one go in? No, just push it out in front too far.
So 10 points, still the spread. 3 minutes and some change left on the clock. Tonga with plenty of time to come back and do some damage here against the United States, but things starting to look a little bit better for the U.S. Number 3 in the game for the United States, that is Joe Schrader. Nice hands by Pinkelman to take the swatted ball off the corner. Thomasine looks to have a little bit of a gallop down the far touchline. Pinkelman to Anufe. Anufe loses the grip once again.
Well, the big boys are in. Anufe. Nue is doing a great job of directing traffic out there. Madison Hughes, of course, not involved. He's the 13th man. We saw him run on at halftime. Not involved at the moment. But Nue's taking on that role.
So with the tap, Joe Schrader. Schrader, who plays for Scioto Valley in Columbus, Ohio. And Schrader, one of those rare finds, 6'5". And great job by Matty Asad to try to keep it in play, and it goes into American hands, but the assistant referee says that he was already in touch, was Ryan Mattias.
Just putting a foot in touch before they get that ball inside.
Pinkelman, he'll take a breather, and then Anthony Welmers. That's Sergeant Welmers. To you, Gareth Reese, wearing the number 6 in the world-class athlete program. His orders from the Army are to play rugby in San Diego for Mike Friday.
That's such a bonus for American rugby to have that support. Thank you for your service.
All right, so Tonga deep in its own territory, down by 2 tries, a minute and 50 left on the clock here, second half, last game of round 1 of pool play here at the Silicon Valley Sevens in San Jose. The skies are clearing, the rain stopped just as the Americans entered the pitch, and things going well for Stephen Thomasine as well. Third try on the day for the man from San Diego. Thomasine just looks up, sees nobody in front of him. Set piece off the top. Thomasine just takes a little dart, gets the ball, and then no red shirt.
Yeah, a little guilty of ball watching there, the Tongans. Niue from a better side for him. Curl this one in.
So you could say a bit of a staggering start for the United States, but they seem to have found their form in the second half. United States 24-7 over Tonga. 48 seconds left in this match.
So what about this pool? Pool C. It's all happened here. USA should hang on here, but New Zealand losing to Chile. So all to play for here at the Silicon Valley Sevens.
It's almost like you said that and I didn't believe you, even though I just saw it. That's right, folks. Chile defeats New Zealand in pool play on day 1. Tonga trying to get something going, put some points on the board beyond their first half try. Knocked backwards off of a Tongan hand. Good job by Folau Nua to reach his hand in there and slap it onto the ground. There's Joe Schrader trying to get across the line. First time in an Eagles shirt. Lays the ball back. Numbers on the corners. Nua to Anufe. Kayvon Williams with the ball. Looks outside to Thomasine. Says, my man, you've scored 3. Why don't you get 4? Thomasine dots down again for the United States. A 4-try performance for Stephen Thomasine against Tonga.
Well, it's simple stuff in the end, but Kayvon's showing a lot of experience here. He backed himself. He used his pace to test the defenders, and that meant Thomasine was unmarked.
Discipline on defense, so difficult to teach, and the reason why Thomasine was left untouched on the corners because the outside defender really didn't trust that the man inside him could take Kayvon Williams. Instead, he slides down and leaves Thomasine wide open. Kayvon Williams makes the right choice, passes the ball into Thomasine's hands. Easy try. Lots to work on for Tonga. So the United States, a good showing in their first match in the Silicon Valley Sevens here. The inaugural event from Avaya Stadium in San Jose, where the United States have just defeated Tonga by a score of 29 points to 7. We are going to take a short break. The action from round 2 will begin in just a little while. Stay tuned. Come back and join us as we push on in pool play. Round 2 coming up.